you so much for being here. What an exciting time to have you. There's so much going on.
There's a few things.
Just a few things. So you were inspired to run in the wake of the 2016 election. You literally sat down at your computer and Googled how to run for office.
That's right.
What compelled you to want to jump into the world of politics?
So, I don't know if you know what happened in 2016.
Refresh my memory.
It didn't go great.
Right.
We had an election in Michigan, and there was a video that went viral the day after the election of middle school students chanting, "Build that wall," at a fifth grader. And that happened at Royal Oak Middle School, which was my polling place the day before. And something about the fact that it was kids, and kids who learned that this was okay, it broke me. So I did what any normal person does and Googled how to run for office.
Oh, very inspiring. I too Googled how to run, but I just stopped right there. Turns out you just put one foot in front of the other. It's easier than I assumed. So your book is titled Hate Won't Win. I'm just curious, considering the last election results, are you planning a follow-up book called, okay, best 2 out of 3?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that hate is having a moment, but the title to me is a call to action. It is a choice that each and every single one of us have an opportunity to make every day about when Elon Musk goes out there and does what is surely a Nazi salute, and we all know it. Instead of getting angry and spiraling and going online and looking up think pieces about whether or not his hand was raised to just the right angle or not, what can we do?
You're saying we should not do that.
We should not.
Okay, I should not do.
Yeah.
Don't spiral. You said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doom scrolling, not
good.
advised.
Got it.
Advised.
Okay.
But when those things happen, and there are a lot of things that happen, the plan of the Trump administration is to do so many disgusting and horrible things every single day that we shut down and feel powerless. And what if instead we put our phones down and we did one thing? Maybe we reached out to one neighbor. Maybe we found out where there's a Democratic club that meets in my town and actually showed up and took a step, just like running. Every single day we take another step and then another step. And long term, if we all do that, hate's not going to win.
This title, Hate Won't Win, came from a really powerful moment from a speech that you made on the floor of your state Senate in Michigan that went viral.
Oh, yeah.
Millions and millions of views, and it all came out of you being targeted by a political rival. Talk about that moment where you not only found your voice, but realized the power that it had.
So I woke up one morning on a regular day, and there was a screenshot of an email on Twitter. And it was an email that was sent out by one of my Republican colleagues, mind you, not somebody I was running against, just somebody in a different part of the state that I serve with, fundraising for herself. And in the email, she accused me by name of wanting to groom and sexualize kindergartners and wanting 8-year-olds to believe they're responsible for slavery. And that's a dark day.
Yeah.
Just not a good work day, certainly. And I visited a high school in my district later that day. I was spiraling all day, trying to figure out what to do, and my friends were worried about me. But I went to this high school, and kids were completely plugged in. They knew what was going on. This was before the Dobbs decision, and there was one young woman who raised her hand and said, "What are we going to do about our reproductive rights?" And then there was another student who said, "Why are there all these bills attacking the LGBTQ community? We don't care. I don't care what my friends look like, how they identify. We're all just friends." And they could not understand. So that night I came home and I was giving my daughter a bath. She was 2 at the time. She's 4 now. And I just remember her looking up at me, and she was laughing with these 4 little teeth that were poking out. And I just started sobbing because she had no idea. She had no idea what was happening to me, and she had no idea that there were kids just a few years older than her who wanted to know why people in their state hated them. So I realized that I feel horrendous, but that I'm not actually the one under attack. So what if I actually respond? You know, I was raised to believe that bullies just crave attention, let's not give it to them. But clearly that hasn't worked. It hasn't stopped them. They are winning. Hate is having a moment. So I wrote down about myself and my mom, and that I was raised in the Catholic Church, and what Christianity meant to me. It meant not putting Christian in your Twitter bio and using that as a shield to attack and marginalize already marginalized people. And I was very intentional, you know, thinking about 99% of people. In the end of that speech, I said, people who are different are not the reason why your healthcare costs are too high or why teachers are leaving the profession, and wanted to take my own story back. And that speech immediately went viral. Tens of millions of people saw it. I got a phone call from the president, and I missed it. It went to voicemail. He left me a message. That was deeply embarrassing.
Whoopsie.
Whoops, sorry. And in it, he says, Mallory, this is Joe Biden, the president, as if I would not know who it was. But then I started getting letters from all over the country from people who are Democratic, Republican, religious, not religious, for months, telling me their life story and what this meant to them, and that it showed them a way forward. And I realized it's not about my title. It's about using my voice and hopefully inspiring others to do the same.
Yeah. There's so many nods to your mom in this book and how she brought you up, how she raised you, the values that she instilled in you. And I love the piece of advice that she gave you after that video went viral, after that speech. She gave you great advice about what you were, this is great, but what are you going to do next?
That's right. She said, you know, moms love to check your ego.
Sure.
So she called, and first she was going to go on Facebook and find out who is this woman and where does she live. So I had to talk her off of that ledge.
Good mom, good mom.
Number one. So she did not come out to Michigan to seek revenge on her firstborn. But she chimed in towards the end of the week, and she said, as a mom, you always want to protect your daughter. And what I've learned this past week is that not only have I raised somebody who protects themselves, but somebody who stands up for other people. But she said, Mal, this is great, but it's not going to mean anything if millions of people watch your speech and they don't do the same thing that you did. And that has really galvanized how I move forward, why I wrote this book, why I launched my campaign for U.S. Senate in the past week, to bring more people into this so that we can all write our own future together and not let hateful people decide it for us.
That's right. You just announced that you're running for U.S. Senate. That's right. What the Democratic Party is struggling a bit right now. Don't have a whole lot of power, although I will say watching Senator Booker hold his pee for 24 hours was more inspiring than I ever anticipated. Truly the moment we needed. But if you were in the U.S. Senate right now, what would you be doing? What would you like to see different?
So, first of all, we're in a really unique moment where we have to start acknowledging there is going to be a future after Donald Trump. There is. So this is the moment for us to start visualizing what that looks like. There are a lot of people, and I think we have to acknowledge that Donald Trump tapped into a lot of people's rightful anger at a system that has not worked for them for a long time. There are people in a state like mine in Michigan who the idea of Make America Great Again was really compelling because they think about a time when you could afford to buy a house and a time when you could save for your kids' college or you could go on a vacation, and that is not true for way too many people. So we have to accept it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. But if I were to be elected to the Senate, it would be on a very positive vision of the new American dream, one that centers on three things: success, safety, and sanity. That it is not enough just to get by.
That
Sounds nice. That it is not enough just to get by. Democratic messaging now sounds too much like, I hear this refrain all the time, Democrats are fighting for you to put food on the table. Well, that's true, but that's the bare minimum. People want to believe in something more, and I think they look at somebody like Donald Trump or Elon Musk, and they say, maybe I don't like the way they talk, and maybe I don't like the way they act, but they're successful, and I want to be successful too. So we have to lay out that vision for people so that they can see themselves in that future and actually want to be a part of what the Democratic Party is selling. It is not enough just to be anti-Donald Trump, because in a few years, there will be no more Donald Trump, certainly not as president. And we need to tell people, this is your future, and we need you to be a part of it right now.
Yeah. I mean, so many Democrats are in the position of having to react all the time and say, this is what we're going to stop, this is what we're going to end. And there seems to be a lack of vision, a lack of clarity for an actual plan moving forward. So it's good to hear, it's nice to hear that you are proposing that, you're thinking about these things, because I think that is what the Democratic Party needs. The whole back half of your book is essentially a how-to guide for people who might want to not just run for office, but get more involved politically or in their communities. If you could give people at home one piece of advice for how to get more engaged, what would it be?
So if you're looking for a great way to get engaged, you can find out more at McMorrowforMichigan.com and sign up to join our campaign. But if you don't want to do that, I would encourage every single person who feels like there's just a fire hose right now and that they're overwhelmed. I talk to people in Michigan who say, I am trying to respond on all of these horrible things and I'm already burned out. Really sit down with yourself and understand the one thing that really moves you. I think a lot about a woman, Jane, who's a constituent of mine. She's a domestic violence survivor. And she has made it her life's mission to protect other women who have gone through what she's gone through from constantly being afraid of their abusers. So she's advocated with me. We've built up a relationship over 6 years, and we now have an address confidentiality law in Michigan that protects survivors from being found by their abusers. And every time, there's legislation related to domestic violence, she reaches out. And now she's somebody who, because I know that this is her area of expertise, I call her for advice. So what you may not realize is elected officials are all people. We bring our own lived experience, but we don't know what you know. So find the one thing that is going to motivate you and move you to show up. If you care about gun violence, for example, join a Moms Demand Action group and learn how to advocate with your local elected officials, and then keep going. And if you trust that everybody else is also going to find their one thing, and it gives you permission not to be on defense all the time, but to go on offense, to really chart your own future, and frankly, take a break when you need to take a break. Put your phone down. Going back to the beginning, yes, put it down.
Put phone down, got it.
Go for a walk. Re-engage with friends. Get to know all of your neighbors, everybody who lives within a 3-block radius of your house, because that is what is going to get us back on track, is community and feeling like we belong and that we look out for each other.
Yes. Couldn't agree with you more. What is something that people do to get involved that you think is a complete waste of time? Because frankly, I would like to cross a few things off my list.
If you never, ever fill out an online petition again, that would be the best thing you can do. There are a ton of them, change.org, Action Network, and I get so frustrated when I see people filling out these things constantly. I had a rule in my office in my first year when I was a state senator that there was no wrong way to engage with us. So even if you sent in one of these forms, we would follow up with you. And we called a guy who had filled out a form, and he picked up the phone and he said, "Who the hell is this, and how did you get my contact information?" He didn't remember.
Was it Ronnie Chang?
It might, it might have been.
It might have been Ronnie.
Might have been.
Like a Ronnie thing.
Might have been, or Michael. I mean, he's a Michigander, right?
Costa.
Yeah.
Could have been Costa.
He didn't remember filling it out. And we tally those in our office, but the way that I think about those, it's really advocacy theater. It's set up to make you feel like you're doing something, and it makes it so easy. It's like smash one button and you can advocate for change. But this really is about relationships. And what those forms do is they allow organizations to collect your personal information and then follow up with you to ask for money. But those individual stories that I hear are actually much more likely to change how I advocate or view something. So if you ignore those, never fill them out again. But just go home tonight, everybody here, audience here, find out who represents you at every level, from your state house to your state senate, your city council person, and just sign up for their official emails and see what they're working on and see how you can get engaged, show up at an event, and you'll grow this muscle just like we do when we learn any skill.
Excellent advice. It is such a treat to have you here. Thank you. I think you're one of the most exciting voices in the Democratic Party. So good luck to you. Thank you for being here, and congrats on your book, too.
Thank you.
Hate Won't Win is available now.